And we're back. So I posed the question to the group inside about other examples we could think of where the players could not only make money but the development company. And the only thing I could think of was Diablo 3, but their cash shop was horrible, and so I don't think that is really a good fair comparison to make. But welcome
for what, Diablo 3?
Yeah, for Diablo 3.
Oh, there it wasn't a cash shop. What it was is that you could take items found in game and then sell it for cash on their auction house or gold. And essentially what it did was that their drop rates for legendaries was really high, so if you got a legendary that didn't really fit your character build, you could sell that on the auction house for money. And people that would dual box or would run multiple characters, because you could do that in Diablo, would be the people that would make $500 to $600 a week on the auction house, because they were racking up like legendaries and selling them for, you could sell, a ton of them, because you didn't care that you were, and then you maxed out your character. You could be like number one whatever wizard or whatever, and you were just slamming legendaries on the auction house. So it broke. It sucked. Once they dropped the auction house and increased the drop rate, it was so much fun because it felt more like Diablo 2 or Diablo 1, where you got a ton of items and you got legendaries. It was just a bad implementation, but it wasn't a cash shop. So it kind of shows us though that real money should never be added to a game and an auction house. Like, it's kind of one of the things, like, maybe it forewarned other companies, like, don't ever put real money.
You know what though? I should find I'll play it sometime, but I think that Guild Wars 2, they have but you can't actually give your money to other players. You can give your money to the company, and that's where we didn't think outside of the box enough, because I didn't even consider that aspect of putting monies in games in that way.
Giving players, like if I could take my station cash and just donate it to somebody else.
No, but see, like, if somebody wanted to put, up on the auction house, like, if they wanted to be the one to put 5,000 copper up, and then somebody else could buy it, and I know that SOE right now, they control that, so they don't want any competitors, so they own a monopoly on, like, the copper market. But, in other games...
Interesting. Well, I mean, that's something else we never actually discussed was...
I think that Vanguard toyed with that idea, because it used to be like you could buy, I forget how it was, but you could buy weapons and stuff like that, but it had to be a player-made thing.
No, and not to get too far off, because I think it would be almost another topic. Would be like, it almost is that the currency and landmark. What will? Did you just get like the nicest cup of coffee ever with whipped cream and like cinnamon sprinkled on top, sir?
I apologize for being late. I was being a good wife.
Holy moly! I just look up and I got like the EverCast Twitch stream up, and then I don't even see him up on the little camera thing I got up here. I just see him sip up and get like this whipped cream in his mouth while I'm talking. Sweet mercy! I
make excellent coffee.
Yes. Listen, like I said in chat, any inquiries for Miss Flatus, please DM me on Twitter. That is right there under my name. You can't miss it. But real quick, going back to what I was saying, not because I think it's a topic about itself. There's no currency yet in Landmark. We use copper to pay for, and they toyed with it. There was the idea. There was always the mention that there would be a currency in Landmark. A coin or something, a landmark nugget, whatever the hell you want to call it. And it hasn't been implemented yet. Do you think that they're going to eventually add it, or they're going to just keep the whole copper system?
No, they're definitely going to add something other than copper, because they want to. I think that they want a more, like, we could make a player created unitive exchange. Like, we joked around during alpha that it was going to be burled wood. It was like going to be how much burled wood is whatever you're selling worth, because but yeah, there's going to be one unified system of measure of worth, so that instead of being like copper, it'll be something else.
Yeah. I was just wondering. I was just touching on that. I think that's almost something, like I said, something else for another day. But
I really like copper because it's fun to be able to like make huge voxel copper. Like if you're swapping between characters, the easiest way is to go to their claim and have permission on it, create this huge copper box that you just add, and then they subtract it and it goes into their inventory. That's easy. I think that's one of the complaints about a Landmark that I'm going to throw out there right now. Make the trade system easier to use and fix the bugs in it, because it is hard. When it's
so like the other day when somebody, I think was it you, Diggs, who was like, someone was like, I need copper or I'm going to lose my claim. And like I did, Talon, all you did was drop a copper block on someone's claim.
No, that was Coda. But
was it Coda? That was Coda.
It was Coda. It was Krona and I helping out Coda. And no, I sent like 10K in the mail to him directly. But that's But that's the largest quantity of voxels that you can send in one like transaction, in one mail. But like when somebody has 500,000 stone that you want to give them, like when I gave Coda 500,000 stone, the easiest way was for him to give me permission to add on his claim. I ran over there and created this just ginormous stone block, and there it is.
Not gonna lie, if I had the amount of copper that I could just donate to people to keep their claims up, I'd probably just like, let me build on your claim. I would just make gigantic copper phalluses and just like, well, it's yours.
Save it as a template and then just paste it.
There it is. Congratulations.
Let me just say that Tanlin doesn't pay my upkeep.
Mm-mm.
I choked on water a little because I just got done talking about copper phalluses. You're like, it doesn't pay my upkeep.
Phallus is choking on a copper phallus?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, jeez.
Phallus is choking on a copper phallus? What?
What just happened?
Bare butts.
Oh, no.
Diggs, I apologize.
Some things you just don't want to touch.
I don't know. I don't even know what sound I can use for this at this point. Maybe this one. You know what? This describes the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to sipping my perfect cup of coffee.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get to immersion. I think I'll just close up the whole money thing. Between Kickstarter and in-game cash shops and stuff, be careful with what you give your money to, and look at what the company's doing and how they're asking for money. If it's a indie title on Kickstarter, I would say go for it. I mean, like, give them $5, and most likely your game's going to be made. If it's an MMO or a bigger AAA sort of title, maybe be wary. I mean, that does take a lot of money to do. So just be wary what you're spending your money on, and be wary of cash shops. Always try to. I would say if you're money savvy, always try to see what one of their crystals or coins or what would that cost in real money dollars, and see if it's worth buying items. Station Cash is pretty good. Like, they're actually pretty solid on what their costs are for Station Cash. I got to give them credit on that.
Yeah.
So.
My end thoughts on the whole money thing is that, like, Destiny just launched. Destiny did $500 million of sales in its opening week. The gaming industry is now bigger than the movie industry. There are going to be people that are going to maliciously try and take your money, and then there are going to be people who will end up taking your money because they don't know what they're doing. So beware. Just all I'm going to say.
Yeah. The thing that I'll add really quickly on money in game is that like specifically with Kickstarter and Indiegogo is that never ever put yourself into a position where you're sacrificing your personal life for that thing, regardless of what it is, gaming or otherwise. And the reason that I say that is because there was a point in time in my life where I would have done exactly that, and it would have been a huge gamble. So if you have the means to give them $100 or $1,000 and it's not going to financially hurt you and you understand the risk, I don't think it really matters as long as you understand the risk and as long as it's not putting you into a financial crisis type of position. I know a couple of people who have actually put themselves in financial crisis type positions to put money on games that they just didn't have the money to put on it. and they did it anyways because they were so faithful in said game or item. So, I mean, if you have the $1,000 to drop on it and you understand the risks involved, I don't see any harm in it. It just, caveat emptor. I mean, seriously, buyer beware. But if you can, you can.
I think the other thing when we're thinking about these early access deals is don't think that your thing, the thing that you love most, is personally going to change the development of the game. You get to put some feedback in there, but that doesn't mean they're going to change the whole development just because you drop some cash and it's all about you.
Absolutely.
And you're probably not paying to play early access.
Yeah, and I will say this, like, and I, some people in chat may think this, but the people that spend money in MMOs or free-to-play MMOs are not the people that they're listening to. They're going to listen to what they feel that their game should be played as. They may put stuff on the marketplace that speaks to those people so they can continue to fund their game, but they're not going to drive their game towards the people that are spending the money on the station or on their shops or whatever. They're not doing that unless they're tanks.
I think we learned from WildStar that even after it launches, they may go in a different direction. I think Locke just wrote something on Zam about WildStar starting to cater to solo players and the more casual players after the fact because people are leaving now. So, just be careful what you're paying for.
Yeah, if you did not read Locke's new post on Zam, go read it. It was actually like he kind of ranted and raved about what the current state of MMOs are and why he's angry about it. And I don't blame him. I really don't. So. But let's go to immersion.
Right. So that was the next topic that we picked, and I think that Flatus, you're the one to blame for this topic too. No. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was me. I don't know. All I know is that immersion in games is a subject that players debate amongst themselves all the time. And so that I thought before we go any further into our questions about immersions, I thought that we would just, because it's this vague term, that we would go around and individually describe what immersion means to us as the hosts. And while we're talking about it, if you're watching in the Twitch chat right now, why don't you go ahead and post, tell us, what do you think immersion means to you specifically, independent of what everybody else says. So, Diggs, you go first. You're the guest.
Okay. Immersion to me is in a RPG is when I'm in the world and I feel like I'm embodying the role of the character that I want to play in that world. So some of it in traditional MMOs has just been, I'm a very casual player. I'm about as casual as you can get. My kill score on the Bartles team is 0. I'm an explorer, like 86% and 0 kill. And I will spend hours just swimming around continents just so I can uncover my map. So, and if I can go to an exotic place, sometimes I feel like I'm on vacation, just getting to a place that is beautiful to be at. I can watch the beautiful sunset. So that's part of immersion to me. But really, the thing that I loved about Kingdom of Amalur Reckoning was that I really felt like a thief. I loved slitting people's throats, and I'm a pacifist. But sneaking up behind people and the blood spray as I slit their throat was amazing. It's the closest thing that I've ever felt like real thief. So if I can really, truly embody my role, and especially make a difference, if I can make an impact on the world like I could in WoW Cataclysm, that's immersion for me. I'm looking for.
That Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning was an absolutely beautiful game. The brief time that I did play it, I really enjoyed it. Just saying.
So,
Single player MMO.
Yep.
It really was.
I'm so Kylast.
Yep.
Hand you the mic. What is immersion for you?
it's gonna sound really strange. I don't often play games that I would label scary, and the reason being is that I tend to get what I consider sucked into video games. And if a video game is capable of making me screaming, I don't want to play it because it actually is genuinely scary. So immersion is, for me, something that I forget that the real world briefly exists. If my dreams are becoming influenced by the video games that I'm playing, that's immersion for me. I will admit it, Minecraft scares the crap out of me at times, to the point where I've actually jumped in real life. That's immersion. If I am physically, emotionally, or mentally affected by the game that I am playing, that would be immersion. If I'm crying because of a storyline because a character that I really liked died, that's immersion. If a game scares me enough to make me jump, that's immersion. If a game makes me angry because of a storyline or because of something that I heard about, then, and I'm not talking about trolls in the game that make me angry, that's a different story. I'm talking about the game specifically itself and not the addition of other people in the game. Those things is what I would consider immersion. If I log in just to escape, I think it's a little bit different. But if I get into the game and that's just what's going on for me at the time and everything else is just gone, that's immersion for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Krona. Getting vertigo while looking down from block height, the limit in Minecraft, that is immersion. Yeah, or running down a hall and getting somewhat like disoriented because the walls are going by too fast. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that you said like one of the key aspects of immersion for me is that when you're playing a game or even watching a movie and you're just so into it, then you forget what else is going around. Like you're really immersed in the game itself. On the other hand, though, like I sometimes get immersed in games for like all the wrong reasons. Like when I'm doing my dailies, like I don't just forget that around me. It's like I'm doing a daily quest and like 15 minutes later, I'm like, where did that time go? Because I have no memory of it. I was just doing that grind. So like whenever I'm thinking of immersion, like I try to tell myself like, I don't want to be too immersed in the game. I want to, like be thinking a little bit more. But I don't know. It's kind of like I wanted everybody else to go first before me because I really have no clue, no real answer. Because I'm also a role player, and like, isn't that what role players are supposed to be about? Immersing yourself in the character. So, Flatus, what about you?
Just as a side note, he does not consume video games in the same way that I consume video games, and I think that the style of consumption makes a difference on the level of immersion.
Does he like his video games blended into a smooth, creamy paste and sipped out of a straw?
He straight up schedules his video game time.
Trust me, I know.
And I think that for me, at least, if I schedule it, then it becomes a task or a chore. And once it's a task or a chore, immersion is impossible for me.
I'll say this. For immersion for me, there are days that I wish that I was like my grandfather when I played a video game. And it didn't matter what game it was. If you put him on an NES and you played RC Pro-Am, or you put him on a PlayStation and played...
Was he ducking and weaving?
Yeah, he's duck and weave. Like, he turned the controller like he was driving the car. That, like, you look at that and you're like, damn, that dude's immersed.
That is exactly how I play video games on a console.
So that being said, like when I play games, for me it's the music and the sounds and the ambient noise and the graphics and what I can sit down and what I find beautiful in the game is getting lost. Like if I can get lost, like, and it depends on the type of game. Like I played PT, which is that horror demo for the new Silent Hills game, and that game is terrifyingly awesome. It is so fantastic, and it is very immersed, and it messes with your mind on a bunch of levels. And you got Guillermo del Toro, which was one of the greatest horror directors who I can name, and besides some others, but there's one of my favorites. And then you also have Kojima, who one of the greatest game developers for Metal Gear Solid, who went to Del Toro and said, "I want to make a game where people may actually shit their pants." Like, that's how scary I want my game to be. And you put out a demo that you didn't tell anybody about, and people scare. Like, there are so many different. There's so many different versions of how you can play that demo to get the outcome, to see the secret trailer for that game. Like, it's insane. They put so much work into a demo, and it's a hidden, and it's called PT, had nothing to do, like, never called Silent Hill. To me, that is immersion. To me, that is, if you take the time to craft something, and it makes me feel scared, or it makes me feel like I want to be an adventurer and I want to kill the dragon, or I want to kill the bad guy, you take the time to make me feel that your world is a living place for me to escape. That is immersion. That is 100% immersion. If you put the hard blood, sweat, and work in those, crazy 24 to 48 hours working in the office, sleeping at your desk in a like a little pillow under your bed, like sleeping 2 hours and trying to get the game ready for me, and you can get me lost in your world, I think that you busted your ass, and you successfully had me lose myself. And I tip my hat to any game developer that has done that, because if you can get me lost in your world, my hat is off to you, because that is immersion. You busted your ass, and congratulations, it paid off. You got me. You hooked me.
Yeah. See, I adore. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dix.
I'm just wondering what MMORPGs made you feel like that.
See, I'm glad you asked that, because I was going to actually point out that in playing Civ 5 with my dad this morning and playing Civ 5 yesterday, it reminded me of something that about Civilization 5 that I really, really like, or not Civilization 5, but like I made a blog post about it, like in my live journal, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whatever, before I even started playing MMOs. And that was like what I was doing in that game was so involved that it felt like there was a story being developed inside the game, even though it's not a storytelling game, right? It's just like, I'm battling with the war over here because I want access to this strategic resource, and all of a sudden there's this story that's developing, even though it's just me playing a video game. And I think that comes from like a little bit of my role playing background and my LARP background, is that like people, like even when they leave the game, they love telling, like they continue the storytelling process even outside of the medium that they were originally telling the story at. So for me, I was playing a video game, I made a blog post. With other people, they may take their role playing inside the game and turn it into like an in-character story. And that's where I really feel like, even though I'm not losing myself totally in the game, because I try not to do that, like I still feel like I'm immersed in it, because there's a story developing separately than the story that's just happening at the game.
Absolutely.
I think my first feeling of immersion with the MMORPG was EverQuest, the original. Because I was playing that game in Canaan. I'd go out and I'd be planning to just explore, and I'd get jumped by gnoll pups, and it pissed me off, and they became KOS. And anywhere I was out running, if I would hear bark of a gnoll, I would immediately drop what I was doing, orient on the sound, go after whatever was making the sound, and kill it. And that was so cool to me, that I could just be running around someplace and listen for a sound and go hunting, because I could. Since then, I haven't really felt a heck of a lot of immersion to that degree in a MMORPG. I did feel that very much in Amalur's Reckoning. But I think that's the promise of EverQuest Next, is that we'll actually have storylines that we can affect.
Absolutely.
One of the things that downplay everything and break immersion is no matter how often I kill Tippy Darkpaw in EverQuest, he's going to pop up the next hour and do exactly the same thing, hour after hour after hour. And, when everything is static, it's going to return to the status quo. It's kind of hard to maintain your immersion.
Yeah, that reminds me of like one of the immersion breakers for me, right? Is that you're fighting the Lich King at the end of Wrath of the Lich King. You kill the Lich King, and there's a cutscene, and it's supposed to be this epic, triumphant cutscene because it's the end of the expansion raid boss. And he's laying there dying in the arms of his father, and he's like, "Dad, father, is it over?" And then like somebody in my TeamSpeak or for my raid group's always like, "No, we're killing you again next week."
Next week,
just to remind you that it's like this doesn't mean anything, and two, it's repetitive, and I think that no matter how quality it is, it breaks that immersion just a little bit.
Can I tell you? Like, coming from a person who played the Warcraft RTSs, going to play World of Warcraft later on, watching the scene where Arthas kills his father in Warcraft 3 is one of the best cutscenes I think I've ever witnessed in a video game. He walks in, he's now, like, he's got the demon of the Lich King in him. He walks up to his father. His father is glad that he is back from trying to push back the evils that he's out questing for, and he just walks up to his dad in front of everyone, and he just walks up to him and guts him. Blizzard nailed that scene, and it's beautiful and it's fantastic, and it makes you instantly stop and be like, what the hell just happened? And then right after that scene, you play as Arthas and you go to the town, and it's right before that, like, all the people are having grain, and all this grain is infected with it's all infected with the scourge, or about to turn into the zombies, and he has the choice of doing one of two things, and he chooses to kill all the innocent people. Instead of evacuating them, instead of warning them, he does the most evil thing. He says, let me just kill the innocent people, regardless of if they ate the grain or not. And you go, and you have to quest that. You have to do that quest. That is you playing that character, regardless of how you feel. You're immersed as Arthas, and you're playing that set, and you go and you're slaughtering people. And it's oh god, I love this scene so much. The roses. It's everything that you want in a video game cutscene is this. It's like he looks up, he sees the walks in. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I we were watching it for a little bit, but I decided to not show the whole thing. I posted it in chat channel. Oh, we lost Diggs.
We lost Diggs.
I just want to.
But
I just want to complain that I have never seen that freaking scene, and what do? They fucking tease me with it.
Well, you've got the link.
Oh, no.
You've never seen it? Anyway,
never,
I'm sorry that
Kai, listen.
We normally get a few complaints over talking too much Warcraft, but I apologize. But it's a really good.
Oh, did we lose? We lose Diggs all around.
No, he sent me a message in TeamSpeak.
Oh, we lost him on video as well. It's Kai. If you have the time later, go to YouTube and just type, like, somebody had cut together all the cutscenes from Warcraft 3 and the expansion all together as one long movie. Do you? Perfect.
Yeah,
watch that.
I bought the collector's edition when Warcraft 3 came out, and it came with the soundtrack and the DVD.
With all the cutscenes. Just do that. Do that thing.
Yeah.
That.
But it's kind of funny that because it reminds me, Day 9, who does the Day 9 Daily and talks about StarCraft. He's a StarCraft professional player and commentator, and he talks in his 100th episode, if you want to look back, that he was, for him, when he first got StarCraft, he was so immersed in the game, like, even these individual disposable characters that he would create, he would, like, name them, and they had stories, and he had to keep as many of them as alive as possible. And so that's a little bit of immersion for me. That then when you're invested in the characters, even if you don't feel like you are the character, and I think that's the key point that I'd like to try and make is that you can be invested in the characters without feeling like you are them. And that's where, like, one of the questions we asked is like, do you feel like you have to be a role player to be fully immersed in the game? And I'm like, and even as a role player, I'm like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that.
For an MMORPG, though, I mean, I would think that you would want to be invested in your own character. What does it mean if you're invested in the other characters but not your own character? That's strange to me.
Right. Well, that's where I look at immersion is different from role playing. If you're going to be role playing your character, then yeah, that's its own separate thing. But you can be immersed in a game without being a role player, and you can role play a game. And you should be immersed, but more often than not, I don't find myself really losing myself, like, all sense of time for the most part.
I'll say this.
I don't separate those two, so that's interesting.
Yeah, For me, I don't role play my character, but I like still getting lost in the world. Even as a player, I like getting lost in the world, and I like getting lost in the world with people. Where they lose me with MMOs, even when I started raiding, like when I first started playing MMOs, when I first started playing World of Warcraft, I loved it because I got lost, and I literally got lost. I walked into high level areas not knowing, and I was like, oh god, there's spiders, and I'm level 30, and I'm level 3. Like, you don't know, I'm running out of there. Like, I take my fireball, and I'm just dying. But when you start to learn, like, there's this whole other section to the game, that's when you start to shed those, like, you're like an onion, not to use Shrek or those metaphors, but you start to shed all those early days, and you start to become very, we're running this on repeat, and there's no, it's just like listening to the same song over and over again, and eventually you just get sick of it. And then you have to wait a while, and that's when running old raids is fun, because it's like, oh, let's just group together and run this old raid for old time's sake, because we haven't done it in a while, and it's break up killing this guy 40 times a week. Let's go kill this guy that we haven't killed in a while, and that's where I really hope EverQuest Next changes the game a little bit, like Fippy Darkpaw is supposed to be in the game, but I hope Fippy Darkpaw has a significant role where we don't stab him in the face a bajillion times.
He doesn't spawn and run into the guards and die every hour on the hour.
Homeboy's died over 1 million times. I think the dude needs a break.
I just want to say that I think it would be super, super fun to, like, cosplay the Widow with Fippy Darkpaw next year at SOA Live.
Nice.
Oh,
the Widow
that would be
Darkpaw.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
But who are you going to be, Kai?
The Widow of Fippy Darkpaw. I'm going to
Tamlin's the Widow of Darkpaw.
So I should make Tamlin a Fippy Darkpaw costume, but make him dead, and, like, drag him around the con with me.
Fantastic.
That would be cool.
That is actually kind of cool.
I would live just to see that.
I really think you'd win the costume contest. Not gonna lie. I think there's about 60 some odd, maybe more people in chat that would sit here and probably, like, clap and vote for you guys if you did that. Like, Mrs. Darkpaw, Widower Darkpaw, and Dead Fippy.
So, briefly, the only thing that prevents me from doing costuming quite like that is the expense. It's not cheap to do costuming. I know I've done it. That's what would prevent me from doing it.
Wow.
I know that costume would be next level.
Yeah. So some of the other things that people put in the whole realm of immersion is that they want the Oculus Rift. And
damn it, I pulled a Tamlin.
Did she really? Ha! She did it! Not me!
That whole... Did anybody not... oh my god.
You're the one that pulled the Tamlin. I can't breathe! He moved!
That's her middle finger. She's not pointing up.
Wow.
Fantastic.
People are talking about immersion, and they always bring up the Oculus Rift as one of the things that they want so that they can really feel totally immersed in the game. we got like 15 minutes left. I think we can talk a little bit about that. What do you think? Do you need to have the VR goggles? Do you need to have like that device where you can like walk on the treadmill and to feel immersed in the game? Do you think that adds to it? What are your thoughts?
Oculus Rift is, people talked about this in the forums this morning. Oculus Rift is not going to do anything to help with immersion the way we need it to help with immersion, because when I was in EverQuest, they were asking for first person along with the Oculus Rift, and when I would be in first person in EverQuest and I'm killing the little lion cubs and the lioness is attacking my back and killing me and I don't know it, that's not helping me because I don't know that she's behind me. And the Oculus Rift is not going to help me see the lioness behind me scraping my back. Immersion of the type that we need is not that we need first person and it's going to feel so immersive in like real life. It's not really going to happen until we've got smell-o-vision and we've got...
Right.
Where are my flying cars? I want my flying cars.
The rumble pack under your seat or whatever.
We gotta have that feedback in the back that has a little bit of pain that has me what's attacking my back? Let me move out of the way. If it's just tied to vision and hearing, that's not gonna do as much as we.
I mean, to get that type of immersion, you'd have to buy all the other products. Like, there's the Oculus Rift, and then you have that little stand, that 360 directional stand you can walk on. Like, it's like it's not a treadmill, but it's like this 360 pad that lets you step and walk. So when you're walking, you kind of glide on this pad, and it lets you walk in any direction. You use that with the Oculus Rift, and it mimics walking. Now, there's this vest you can get. I know it all. There's a vest that you get that has, and it lets you, like, if you're playing a first-person shooter, if you get shot in the chest, it like vibrates, like thud, like right here on certain parts. So you feel like you're getting not getting physically shot, but it gives you the immersion that you're like, oh, I'm getting, like, these are the bullets entering my body. I'm doing horrible at CS:GO.
Somebody quick needs to mix that with freaking laser tag. Go.
Yeah,
I'm sure that it's already there.
Yeah, it's probably
like one of the laser tag games that I played before. There was the sensor was on your rifle. Like, you wore the suit, but you also had a sensor on your rifle, and the vest didn't vibrate, but the gun would vibrate when you got shot.
Womp womp womp. But I mean, to get to what I was saying about EverQuest Next, like, my idea for how they should do immersion is, like, one, involve that Rose song. I like that the Rose song lies to you. That should be a thing. I think that's an excellent idea. I think that should be a thing all the time. And I think that if it's gonna be like, hey, you like doing these things, and then just put that one odd thing, it's like, oh, you should go see that mountain. Okay, go to the mountain. Like, there should be a big old dude on there that just, like, kicks you off, and like, poof, you're like dead. What just happened? Why did I go see the big dude? What? Like, then you're like, I need a party for that guy. That Rose song lied to me. I need people. Like, it should like, the Rose song should be something that gives you hints of things that you like to do, but also trick you and teach you, like, oh, this thing is both good and bad. Like, this thing is both willing to troll me and tell me. And I think that's something that where you can't get out of a quest hub. That's something. Like, and then if we kill, like, a named character, like, I agree that character's dead in the world, and it should be dead, and it's something else with the crown should take over, and it's a new named character.
Well, we got a little bit of that in the Bloody Kithakor demo, because if the Rose song is leading you, like, I'm going to be a rogue, so I expect to be using Shadow and Affliction. And if the Rose song is leading me to help the Dark Elves gather Shadow, because that's going to increase my ability to move through shadows, I would be doing that. But what the Rose song is not going to be telling us is that if we do that too much and weaken the Dryads too much, that's going to release the Shadow Demon, which is oops, maybe I didn't expect to do that.
Right, and
so it's not even just so much lying, but just the information that we're getting. It's telling us what we think we want to do, but we don't know the repercussions of all of that. That's the beauty and the promise for EP Next.
I remember having a conversation with somebody, and I can't remember if it was Twitter, if it was TeamSpeak at this point. All those places are mixing for me.
Twitter
but
and
it was,
TeamSpeak?
yeah, I don't know. Like, we talk a lot. I talk a lot. So it was one of the things where it was like, wouldn't it be interesting that if it announced that, like, if you did something, the roast song made you do something, that it announced it to the whole server. Like, you pissed off, like, you weren't there, like, it lied to you.
Yeah. We talked
Like,
about that.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, it was TeamSpeak where it lied to you and you caused something to happen and that it was server wide. Like, it caused a rallying call. Like, you went to go
breaks the seventh seal.
Yeah, like, I'm the asshole that like goes and like, oh dude, I found something over here in this mountain. I go crack open and all of a sudden I release like a horde of demon ghosts that come out of the freaking walls, and I'm just like I would be that one dude and be like, way to go! Like, if it just pops up and it's like Flatus unleashes the horde of demons on the plague of Norath, and like, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Like, that to me would be like, well, there it is. It's out there now. Like, we're talking about that next EverQuest.
Right. Well, we're talking about one of the things that I love about immersion that really gets me thinking about the game is when I have imperfect information or when I have a lack of information, because that's really when my imagination starts running wild with me, when I don't know all of the answers and I can't see the whole story. Like, I'm trying to think of an example that I played in an MMO, but that was the thing about that Civ game that I was talking about. Like, I didn't know, because of the fog of war, I could only see like my little area of the map. And so I was, my imagination was like just going wild with like, well, what if they're doing this or what if they're doing that? And I think that if EverQuest Next can keep up that concept of like imperfect, that's not my dog. If we keep up that concept of imperfect knowledge, right, where we don't know what will happen if the Dark Elves succeed in their mission to acquire all this shadow magic, that would really be awesome for immersion. I'd be like, oh my goodness, what did you do? So yeah, that was you and I talking about that, Flatus, where we were like, that would be awesome if it then announced to the whole server that, you know, like, this is the person responsible for, you know, unleashing the new bubonic plague, you know, all of that sort of fun stuff. Like, he killed the last rat, and now, you know.
Yep, that's it. It was me. It was the Flatus. Killed off everybody. But it also begs to answer the question, like, if the Dark Elves don't succeed, what happens? Like, why are they acquiring all this power? What happens if, like, do the dragons then take over? Maybe they were like, maybe the reason for it is to suppress dragons. We don't know. We don't know what tricks SOE's got up their sleeves. It almost makes like, well, if people push hard enough on this one thing and being good, then we're gonna come back with something. What are we gonna come back with? Like, there's always, to me, like, it's almost like when you're making food or dinner or you're making cocktails, there's always balance between, you know, sweet and alcohol and sour and all that. It's the same with games. Like, there's always balance. There's never, like, if you put too much of, like, something, like, single player games, they usually have that problem because they're programmed a certain way. But MMOs, especially, like, something where Sony has the control over the rallying calls or control over the world like they say they do, then if we do too good, what's the outcome if we do too good? Where it's like, well, look at the whole server, they did a lot of good. Yeah, let's unleash a big dragon, or let's do this, or let's what happens? How are they going to be like, you think you did good?
Yeah, but QNX doesn't really have good and bad, so I don't know what too good would mean. We're just going to be doing stuff.
Yeah, I love that concept about EverQuest Next, is that you should just go around and do what you think that your character should be doing and see what type of things that you can unlock that way.
Happen, yeah.
I would hate to see, like, that's where I think that whole, like, era of mystery, like, not having all the answers to, like, opening raids and that sort of thing, like, you know, don't give us all the answers and lie to us and deceive us, because that keeps the world really living. Especially when, you know, like, I'm sorry, the person who was telling you to do that was really an evil dragon in disguise, and you fell for their evil trick. And you're like, no!
See, I don't know, man. I'm telling you. I think they should play tricks with us. I think Legendary was saying that Rose Song, the more evil you do, Yeah, the more Rosong, the flattest Rosong screws with you more. The more if you commit acts of evil. So the people that want to be evil, the Rosong screws with them more. I think the Rosong should screw with you. Period.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really going to be tied to good and evil. One of the other examples that I love is that shopkeeper that becomes jealous because you talk to his wife too often, and you know, you just think that you're having a conversation, but you're really pissing off this this other NPC that could do whatever. He might tell the ghost you're stealing from him. You know, who knows what he might do. You think you're doing a good thing, but the other people around you don't necessarily think you're doing a good thing.
That is absolutely brilliant, right? Like you see, like the merchant sees you flirting or talking with his wife. He thinks you're flirting with his wife, and he's so like, "Oh, hey, I hear there's these goblins down in this cave. Why don't you go take them out for me?" And instead of goblins, it's like it's the dragon slayer, and he's like, "Well, takes care of that."
Yep. Oh, I'm dead. Well,
I mean, that's the whole beauty, is that we won't know. We're just going to be doing stuff that we like to do, going in the direction that we like to go in, and we don't necessarily know what the repercussions of our actions are going to be. And it's not just tied to good and evil. It's perspectives of all the people around us. All the Ents are going to have feelings about what we're doing, and we might think that we're doing the good thing, but not every NPC may agree with us.
Absolutely. That's that, and that affects a lot of things. It affects how we get our classes. It affects what people, like they said, describe getting the. Somebody help me. What was the class with the healing? That was also battle cleric. the cleric, like that was a choice. Like you helped that guy out, and then he asked you to help him, like travel with him to a city. And you go on a couple adventures. That was all based on your choice. You could leave him at any time, and you would never unlock cleric. If you decided to be like, bro, I just helped you some deuces. I helped you kill these guys. I'm out. Like I'm going over to that apple tree. I'm gonna go count apples. Like that's my day. I'm just gonna count some apples. But like that's your choice. You could leave that guy and say, no, man, you got it from here. I helped you fight off bandits. There's the town. It's less than I could see it from here. There's nobody else coming. You'll never unlock cleric. That interests me. Like the question I know we're coming up to the end, but it's one of those things where it's like, what happens if you say no? And I think I asked this early on, very early EverCast. Was that, do you say, like it's like a train heading down the tracks, and you have the ability to pull the thing that could save them from barreling off the broken tracks and save all the people on the train. But if you do that, then it also but it also kills other people. Like it's always that like
no, that's that philosophy question, right?
The
yeah. You can flip the switch, and instead of going off of the broken bridge over here, you can kill 3 people over here by diverting the track.
Yeah,
so basically,
that's a logical fallacy, isn't it? I mean, that's
no, it's a legal fallacy because there's legally, you have a duty to not hurt anyone. You don't have a duty to protect anyone. So in the legal profession, it's a very simplified. I won't say that it's always simple, but
in gaming,
in gaming, there of course it's a moral question. Like, what can you say? Can you sacrifice the few? Can you make that decision to save few at the expense of,
saving the many? Do you sacrifice the few to save the many?
Right. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's only a game. Why do you have to be mad?
Gladys.
Yeah.
The sheep is grounded.
Oh. Oh no.
All right. So some final.
Understand the reference.
I do.
Okay.
Any last final thoughts as we level up?
We just leveled up.
That is a disturbing noise for leveling up.
It's the EverQuest thing for leveling up. EverQuest
That's
2.
frightening.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you level up in EverQuest 2. Go.
I don't normally play with the sales on in that game because I'm normally playing with people, so I'm in like TeamSpeak or something, and so I never really hear the sounds in that game. That is disturbing. It's discordant and cacophonous.
Oh, damn! She just dropped the cacophonous.
Big word.
Get that Twitch.
I like
All
words, and I cannot lie.
All right, I'll start the final thoughts. I think final thoughts. Money wise, careful with your dollars. I mean, we all work hard for our money. Just be careful with how you spend it, what you believe is worth spending money on, and stuff. Do your research and don't get hooked into a scheme or what you think. Like, just do your research on gaming. As for immersion, for any form of entertainment, I mean, get lost in something. Get lost in a book, get lost in a game, take the time to get lost in something. It's fun. It escapes you from the world that you live in, and it's good for you. Use your imagination, Go role play. We're Tanel and I are starting something soon with certain people on the internets with some role play, which we have to go and make sure that's happening.
We need to go poke some people. As for me, just because I'm anti-Kickstarter doesn't mean that I look down on people who do. Like, if you want to back indie projects, I have no problem with you doing it. Always, when it comes to real money, realize it's real. It's really real.
It's really real, yo. It's
really real.
Really real.
As for immersion, I don't know. If I'm walking away from your game after I turn it off and I'm still thinking about it, that makes me feel like I was more immersed in it than if I lose myself while I'm playing it. And that's just my own unique opinion. And I'll turn it over to the others to finish up their thoughts.
I have one thing to say that's completely off topic, but can somebody or somebodies please help me convince Tanlin to play Minecraft just once and commit to playing it for an hour before he judges the game, because he's never touched it, but he refuses to play it.
Talon, go play Minecraft for 1 hour. Let's go do it.
You got that beautiful cup of coffee. I mean, what's an hour?
Yeah.
What's an hour?
Honestly, Minecraft, they listen. There's a reason why that game sold over 50 million copies. There is a reason. I would go try it out. Despite its art thing, you can go download a mod and make it look totally different. So if the art is what bothers you. Do you want a story?
The art bothers him, but dude played some games that are pretty ugly.
What game?
Pong?
No, she went and pointed at Vanguard.
Oh, jeez. Let's not end on that
fired.
note.
Pew pew.
Oh yeah, hold on a second. That's not even shots fired. That is just a straight up blast of buckshot to the face.
It's only a game. Why do you have to be mad?
That's all I gotta say. Anyway, so Kailas, do you have any statements on money and or immersion before we go?
If you don't want it, don't buy it. It's a good game if you can get immersed in it. I've never played an MMO that was really immersive, though. I don't really consider Minecraft immersive, or not immersive. I don't really consider it an MMO because I don't really feel like it's an MMO, but I guess it's sort of. I don't know. Like I play on.
It's a multiplayer game.
So I play on my friends' private servers. I don't play with real people. I play with my real friend people. So
makes them sound like they're imaginary friends.
Massively so.
Right. It's not a. And we were gonna do an episode about what is an MMO, but we keep taping.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, next time.
Same bat channel.
Why don't we just announce it now that we're stuck to it? We're stuck. We gotta do it next time. Boom! Right. Done. Next time on EverCast, it's locked. We locked it. I don't have a lock sound. I gotta get one.
Hold on, let me pull up the schedule.
Yeah. When you say
have time for that.
Lockdown, I have the deep deep desire to start like singing some 303, and I think it would be utterly disturbing for people to see me sing 303. So I won't. But I'll have to send you the song so you know what I'm talking about.
While Talon does that, Diggs, what is your final thoughts on money
my
or
final
or
thoughts? My final thoughts would be only buy what you like. Be careful what you pay for. And I mean, the promise of EverQuest Next is constant character progression, story progression, quest progression, exploration. I don't see how you can play EverQuest Next and not be immersed. I mean, it's got to be potentially the most immersive game RPG that we have out there. So.
Yep.
that's what's going to help them. That's what's going to help them stick out of the crowd. So, all right, guys. Listen, it's we're past our time, so Tamlin's ready to like shut everything. Just hit the big red button and be like, shut this off. So, Diggs, would you like to count us down and camp us out and say goodnight to all these lovely folks who stood up and watched us on Sunday night?
Sure. Camping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.